When it comes to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, a lot of the game is still in the shadows. And I'm not just talking about how dark the game looks. While we do have some information on the title, the game and its truth is shrouded in darkness. However, it is that darkness that sometimes information creeps out of. Now, whether if this information is the truth or not is up in the air, because these are rumors or leaks coming out of 4chan when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and they should be treated as such. But I wanted to make a video to give my takes on these interesting leaks or rumors. And a bunch of you guys have been letting me know about this as well, so let's speculate and theorize together on the validity, the possible validity, of this new so-called information that no longer exists on 4chan and more. What's up guys, HMK once again with another Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 video. We're about to go over some rumors slash leaks, so this should be taken with a grain of salt, but all of this information seems actually pretty interesting, but I want to try and take it apart in this fun video to speculate along with you guys. Hopefully we'll get some new information soon. With that being said, for the safety of hype, I'm gonna ask you to strap on in. Let's dive directly into the noise. Now, it should be noted that these 4chan rumors have been circulating a little bit and have since been deleted and really don't have any type of source or backing whatsoever. But with that being said, a lot of people are spreading them around, thankfully, as rumors slash leaks, each with varying degrees of validity and how much they believe in these rumors or leaks. But I wanted to take these and pick them apart one by one and give my take on each. The first one may be the biggest kicker, and that the game logo and title of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be revealed as The Legend of Zelda Bond of the Triforce. BOTT. That doesn't sound too bad. I mean, to me it sounds a lot better than Breath of Darkness or Breath of the Darkness. But honestly, I dig Bond of the Triforce, but to me that sounds a little like a couple of theories that people have been spreading around when it comes to the possible premise of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, where Zelda's supposed link to the Triforce, as alluded to in the original Breath of the Wild, will be a key catalyst in Ganondorf possibly using Zelda as a way to track down the Triforce. But at the same time, Bond of the Triforce could also allude to the bond that is shared between Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, which for the first time in a long time come back together in a Zelda game. A dimension like that has been alluded to in many Zelda games prior, including The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, in which Ganondorf states, "Let's put an end to that which binds us." That being the Triforce. And that could be the reason why Ganondorf remained and returned in this game. And honestly, I wouldn't put Bond of the Triforce out of the question when it relates to a title that is similar to Breath of the Wild, as direct Zelda sequels have got wild names, such as Majora's Mask coming from Ocarina of Time, Phantom Hourglass coming from The Wind Waker, so on and so forth. The next piece of information is that apparently we're getting a trailer relatively soon. Alright, okay, I mean, we haven't had a Nintendo Direct, a true Nintendo Direct, since the beginning of the year, and a lot of people are expecting Breath of the Wild 2 to be at said Nintendo Direct, and a lot of people are speculating that we might get a Nintendo Direct very soon, this week in fact. So if this lines up, I would be a very, very happy camper. The next piece of information is a very interesting one. It states that Zelda is going to be playable within dungeons for puzzle solving, and that you can switch between Link and Zelda in real time while in dungeons. Now, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, wanted Zelda to be playable, so if this turns out to be true, they are gonna be super happy. But this mechanic seems very similar to what was explored in the later half of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, where you use the command melody in order to switch between Link and go to either Makar or Medley in their own respective dungeons. So, if they're revisiting that certain gameplay aspect, I don't believe it to be out of the realm of possibility. However, this next piece of information when it comes to Zelda's role within Breath of the Wild 2, or I should say Bond of the Triforce, is a bit sketchy. It states that Zelda will tag along with Link in the Overworld, and apparently she can now use the power of nature to assist Link, such as changing the weather. Now, this makes sense in one degree because a lot of people did complain about the weather system, the weather mechanic in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild when you try to climb cliffs or buildings and then suddenly a rainstorm happens and you slip off, wasting your stamina. So to have some sort of control over that makes a little sense, but to regulate those abilities to Zelda, who's literally a scholar this time around in the Zelda timeline, someone who definitely isn't specifically adept with mystical abilities like previous Zeldas, not only did she just to get her grip on the ceiling power, but in the true ending she states that her power may have dwindled over the 100-year time skip, and to give her even more mystical abilities like this seems off. But hey, I mean, you never know, and possibly this could be a completely new power that she gains throughout the game. Oh no, that sounds pretty wild. Breath of the Wild, get it. The next piece of information is that apparently animals will play a much bigger role in terms of gameplay. And one thing we're supposed to look out for is that there's going to be a rideable bear in the trailer. But this really isn't news because we were able to ride bears in the original Breath of the Wild. The only thing is we couldn't register them because they're not horses. So to say that maybe possibly in the Legend of Zelda Bond of the Triforce we're able to register other animals such as bears, that sounds like a cool mechanic. To be fair, we do have a hint of this from the original trailer, as Zelda and Link are using and riding a type of bull for transport. So maybe you can tame and register a various degree of animals for specific jobs. Horses, of course, will be the main mode of traversing the world of Hyrule. Bulls can be used to transport a good deal of items and weapons over long distances, and possibly bears would be a good animal to ride in order to climb certain obstacles such as hills, mountains, trees, anything a horse really can't get over. So if that is the idea they're trying to go for in this leak, then I'm down for that. The next piece of information is that apparently new enemies, Levers and Tektites, although they're not technically new to the Zelda series, but they will be new to Breath of the Wild, will be in the game, along with some sort of snake-like enemy. As for the Levers and Tektites, I'm down for them coming back into the Zelda series. We can get more variation in terms of enemies. Although these two type of enemies are easily some of the easiest foes you can face. Despite that, I miss them. As for the snake-like enemy, I'm down. New types of enemies, something completely new, let's go. And snakes always make for a good type of enemy class. The next piece is that apparently a magic gauge is seen, and it might be for Zelda, or in my opinion, if a magic gauge is truly going to come back in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 or Bond of the Triforce, it would be for Link. I mean, magic gauges are usually green, and what do we see getting absorbed into Link's arm? That green arm. But then again, a magic meter could be for Zelda's ability to change the weather. That would be a good way to bottleneck that ability from getting abused. But something like weather changing, I would prefer a cooldown. Next up, the slingshot is returning. But why? The bow and arrow mechanic was always infinitely better, and with such a focus the bow has had in the original Breath of the Wild, why would the slingshot come back in the sequel? Nah, I can't find a way to excuse that. That sounds super shade to me. Along with that, a new plow looking weapon for Link that he will use to charge into large hordes of enemies. And that one to me seems very... yeah, no? This whole line with the slingshot and the plow weapon just seems very off, and I can't find a way to like justify those type of mechanics in the sequel. Maybe instead of actually being a slingshot and a plow, they were abilities tied to the Sheikah Slate or Link's new arm that's like a magic ability. I don't know. Yeah, that last one definitely gets a pass on me. And the next piece of information says that it visually looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, which makes sense because this is the most direct of direct sequels to a Zelda game, and it's literally a sequel to Breath of the Wild, so I mean, like, yeah, no real surprise there. But in the trailer, a remix of the Zelda 2 title theme will be playing. Now that has me tantalized. That theme was always dope, and if this would suggest that Breath of the Wild along with sequel were to take place in the Downfall timeline, that would be the biggest kicker from the trailer. Although Ganondorf himself as Ganondorf has never really appeared in the Downfall timeline, just gotta put that out there. And to wrap this all off, a little piece of information from Sabi suggests that apparently Breath of the Wild 2 is taking a bit longer to develop than what Nintendo thought back in E3 2019, and that it might not make the holiday release. But once again, Sabi says to take it, as we all should, with a grain of salt, as I still believe that The Legend of Zelda number 20, Breath of the Wild 2, shall make it in 2020. But I really wanted to cover this supposed information coming out, these rumors or leaks from 4chan and Sabi, and see what you guys think. What was the most interesting piece of information, and what was the most shadiest in your opinion? Leave your comments and theories in the comment section below, and while you're at it, please like and share it to keep the conversation going as I post awesome content every week. Big thanks to my Patreon supporters for help making this video happen. If you want to find out how you can support HMK for just $1 a month, please check out my Patreon page. Alright guys, until the next Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 video, this has been HMK, and I will check you guys later.